Every day, researchers find relics from the time of the ancient Greeks. In 2024, archaeologists made a startling discovery in the Greek island of Evia.
In a lifetime discovery, in a bit of wasteland in the shadow of the Shard, which used to be used as a car park for years. The site was being excavated as part of a regeneration project in Southwark. Wendy Hurrell reveals the story.
An ancient Greek mosaic that could change our understanding of history. 1. Ancient Greek mosaic found by construction workers. In 2024, construction workers in the Greek island of Evia made an unbelievable discovery. Archaeologists were called in, and they confirmed that the group had just stumbled upon a relic from ancient Greece. While installing water pipelines, the construction workers unearthed an ancient mosaic floor dating back to the 4th century BC. This mosaic was found within the remains of a house from the ancient city of Eretria, a major urban center in ancient Greece. The mosaic shows two satyrs, mythological creatures that are half human, half animal, with features like tails, pointed ears, and horns. One satyr is shown playing a double flute, while the other, an older and bearded figure, is dancing to the tunes. The craftsmanship is exceptional. Looking at it from afar, it looks painted, but a lot of hours had to have been put into this. What's even more unbelievable is that the mosaic is in an excellent state of preservation, with all of the intricate details having survived for over 2,300 years. 2. These aren't just random mosaics. The mosaic tiles give us a direct connection to the daily life and religious practices of ancient Eretria, a city with a rich historical background. Satyrs were often linked to Dionysian rituals, which celebrated fertility, wine, and the liberating aspects of life. The presence of these figures in domestic art means that the household where the mosaic was found was not only wealthy, but also took part in the religious and cultural practices of the time. The use of pebbled design makes the figures look very realistic, reflecting advanced skills in mosaic making that were used in that time. We're still learning about the social history of Eretria and the way people lived there. This brings us a whole new side to it all. If the rich believe in deities like Dionysus, it's clear that religion ran deep into the general social structure. 3. The Temple. Sasso Pinzuto Necropolis is an archaeological site in Tuscany, Italy. This area has been under exploration since the 1830s and is closely linked to the Etruscan settlement of Colle San Pietro. The necropolis features over 120 chamber tombs that date from the 7th century BCE to the Hellenistic period, so it was used for a really long time. Oikos is the temple's name, and it measures approximately 6.2 by 7.1 meters. The term oikos denotes a type of rectangular structure used for religious or communal purposes. The temple's foundations are constructed from tufaceous opus quadratum, an ancient Roman technique involving squared blocks of stone. It's clear that the builders of that era knew that this was a method that would lead to the most durable building, so they went with it. Because of it, the temple still stands today. With all the information it's brought, it also provides concrete evidence of Etruscan religious structures. Prior to this, knowledge about Etruscan cult practices was primarily derived from polychrome clay slabs showing religious and ceremonial activities. These slabs, dating to the second quarter of the 6th century BCE, show elite Etruscan ceremonies such as processions and banquets, which were very important to their religious life. 4. A look into the religious past. The excavation of the temple has revealed more features that shed light on Etruscan religious and funerary practices. For example, 3 mounds with crepidine, which are steps or platforms, were found embedded into opus quadratum and tufa, materials used in the construction. Near the largest of these mounds, which is over 10 meters in diameter, archaeologists found 9 smaller trenches. These trenches are believed to be related to cultic and funerary activities. This is likely the place they prayed for life, children, because of the fertility deities present in it, and it also ended up being the place where funerals were held, a complete circle of life. 4. Several Greek inglots. The mosaics weren't the only thing from this era that was found at the time. There's also been a discovery of several Roman lead ingots. These ingots were found buried deep underground, where no one could have expected them to be. They're triangular in shape and weigh between 24 kg and 32 kg. Their substantial size and uniform shape seem to point to the possibility that they were produced in large quantities, likely for widespread use throughout the empire. It's not just the time they've survived that's impressive, it's also the smelting techniques used by the Romans. They relied heavily on lead for various applications. Lead was an essential material in Roman society, used in everything from water pipes and plumbing systems to cooking utensils and even cosmetics. The sheer quantity of lead ingots found also suggests that Cordoba was a major center for lead production and trade. The discovery of these ingots is significant for several reasons. First of all, it provides concrete evidence of the Roman Empire's extensive industrial capabilities and its ability to exploit natural resources on a large scale. The ingots also offer insights into the logistical networks that supported the empire's infrastructure, highlighting the importance of Spain as a key supplier of raw materials. Could Spain's history be even bigger than we've always thought it was? 5. Lead was important in their lives, but it could have also ended it. While the metal's malleability and abundance made it a preferred material, its toxic effects were unknown to the Romans at the time. Chronic exposure to lead can lead to severe health issues, including neurological damage, cognitive decline, and reproductive problems. These are things that we've learned in recent history. Among the Roman elite, who had greater access to luxury goods and lead-containing products, the risk of lead poisoning was even higher than it was for the average person. The widespread use of lead in everyday items, combined with prolonged exposure, contributed to numerous health problems within the population, like losing muscle function, especially among the upper classes who consumed lead-sweetened wine and used lead-infused cosmetics on a more everyday basis. There were other reasons, like invasions and economic decline, but lead poisoning could have just been the silent culprit from within. But even though the empires are gone, they left a lot of artifacts behind that we can use to learn about them. 6. Villa Romana del Casale mosaics. The Villa Romana del Casale is a grand Roman villa located near Piazza Armerina in Sicily, Italy. Built in the 4th century AD, it is one of the most luxurious and well-preserved examples of a Roman country home. This place is full of ancient Greek mosaics. The villa was constructed during the late Roman Empire, likely as a hunting lodge or country retreat for a wealthy Roman aristocrat. The identity of the villa's owner remains unknown, but the scale and how grand it is suggest it belonged to someone of considerable wealth and status, possibly even a member of the imperial family. The whole place is 3,500 square meters, and each room is full of mosaic floors, still in pristine condition. One of the most famous mosaics in the villa is located in a long corridor known as the Corridor of the Great Hunt. This mosaic depicts a large-scale hunting scene, with hunters capturing wild animals. It's possible that this was portraying the owner's lifestyle, or they were just a fan of hunting. 7. The Mosaics of Huqoq. The Mosaics of Huqoq are located in an ancient synagogue in Galilee, Israel. They were discovered in a synagogue dating back to around 400 CE. They portray a variety of biblical narratives. Among the most notable scenes are those from the story of Samson, including Samson and the Foxes, Judges 15:4, and Samson carrying the gate of Gaza, Judges 16:3. They were discovered during archaeological excavations that began in 2011. Over several seasons, significant findings were reported, with the most recent discoveries, including detailed panels depicting scenes from the story of Samson, made during the summer of 2023. One of the significant discoveries at Hukok includes a large mosaic panel featuring a Hebrew inscription framed by a wreath. This panel is flanked by lions resting on bulls' heads, surrounded by a border depicting animals of prey. The inscription, written in Aramaic, lists the names of donors or artists, asking to be remembered for good. Even though this whole place was lost to time for a while, because of the sheer size of this find, it's here to stay. 8. Mosaics of the National Bardo Museum. The mosaics at the National Bardo Museum in Tunis were discovered across various archaeological sites in Tunisia, primarily during the 19th and 20th centuries. The museum's collection has been built up over many decades of excavation, with some of the most significant finds occurring as early as the late 19th century. One of the standout pieces in the museum is the Virgil mosaic. This mosaic represents the Roman poet Virgil, known for his epic poem, the Aeneid. Discovered in the ancient city of Hadrumetum, modern-day Sousse, this mosaic is significant as it is thought to be the oldest surviving portrait of Virgil. The mosaic depicts Virgil seated between two muses, which is a way to show how he holds a high position in Roman literary culture. But that's not all. There's also the Triumph of Neptune. This exquisite Roman mosaic has the sea god Neptune surrounded by allegorical representations of the four seasons. Found in Sousse, this mosaic dates back to the 3rd century CE and is still in great condition today. With how well these are being preserved, they might just last till the end of time. 9. London's largest Roman mosaic. On February 22, 2022, archaeologists uncovered the largest Roman mosaic found in London in over 50 years. This discovery was made during excavations for a regeneration project near the Shard in Southwark, London. The mosaic is believed to have been the floor of a Roman dining room back in the day. The mosaic consists of two highly decorated panels featuring vibrant, colorful designs. The largest panel showcases a very detailed arrangement of large flowers. This panel also includes geometric motifs, like the Solomon's knot, composed of interlaced loops. The design is attributed to the Acanthus Group, a team of mosaicists who developed a distinctive local style in Roman London. The mosaic dates from the late 2nd to early 3rd century AD, aligning with the period when Londinium, or Roman London, was a thriving urban center. Because of how intricate and detailed the mosaic is, it's believed that this was part of a fancy establishment where high officials either lived or ended up visiting often. Somehow, it was covered up, only to be found centuries later. 10. The mosaic near the Colosseum. On December 18, 2023, archaeologists working at the Colosseum Archaeological Park in Rome ended up finding an exceptionally preserved Roman mosaic within a Republican period domus. These are wealthy townhomes, where the owners would spare no expense and lived like kings. This domus, located near Agrippa's warehouses on Vicus Tuscus, an ancient commercial road leading from Palatine Hill to the Tiber River, was constructed in phases between the 1st and 2nd centuries BCE. The mosaic is full of seashells, various stones, minerals, and Egyptian blue tiles. These weren't common in your everyday mosaics from that era, just the super rich got to add these things into the artwork in their homes. The mosaic is divided into 4 sections, with vases of lotuses and vines, stacks of weapons, instruments, and ship prows crossing over a trident. The lunette above these sections shows both pastoral and maritime scenes, including shepherds, farm animals, city buildings, and ships on the ocean. Because of how specific it is, it's believed that the owner was likely a high-ranking soldier or noble and had traveled around. It would also explain how he even gathered all of the unique materials to add to this beautiful mosaic too. 11. Mosaic under a supermarket. On March 21, 2023, archaeologists from Oxford Archaeology uncovered a remarkably well-preserved Roman mosaic in Olney, Buckinghamshire, England. The mosaic was discovered on a plot of land designated for the construction of an Aldi supermarket. The site had already been known for its Roman settlement, but no one knew a whole mosaic lay underneath. The mosaic has vibrant colors and intricate patterns. The outer border is adorned with blue and cream tiles, while the central section showcases a red, white, and blue design with typical Roman decorative elements. Near the mosaic, archaeologists found stone structures that are believed to have been filtration systems for water collection and part of a bathhouse, suggesting the site was a Roman villa with other facilities too. If it weren't for the supermarket construction, this would have never been found. 12. Turkish dig uncovered. Lost mosaic. Officials unearthed this mosaic in a house-shaped compartment located approximately 33 feet underground in 2021. This site is believed to have been part of a wealthy Roman residence. The site was so well preserved naturally that the officials had to dig a hole and use a ladder to even get a look at the mosaic itself. The mosaic features intricate tile work and a fluted column, showing that it was a very luxurious home. With the amount of detail that's gone into this mosaic, it's clear that the owners were able to spend a pretty penny on artwork. Because of the way the craftsmanship was, the researchers believe this one's from the earlier era of the Roman occupation of the region around 753–509 BC, but because the city was built basically on top of the old one, it disappeared, only to be found now. 13. Chedworth Roman Villa, Gloucestershire. Archaeologists working at the Chedworth Roman Villa in Gloucestershire, England, uncovered an extraordinary mosaic from the 5th century. The mosaic has been radiocarbon dated and analyzed using optically stimulated luminescence, confirming it was installed between 424 and 544 AD. This is the first known 5th century mosaic discovered in Britain. Before its finding, it was thought that Roman villas fell by the end of the 4th century. The presence of this mosaic suggests a more gradual decline, indicating that some villas continued to be occupied and maintained through the 5th century. The mosaic, found in what is believed to have been a summer dining room, features a design with an outer border of alternating circles filled with flowers and knots. While it may not rival earlier Roman mosaics in how grand it is, it reflects the continued wealth and cultural influence of its occupants and pretty much changed history with its finding. 14. Giant mosaic under a farm. This incredible mosaic was discovered beneath a farmer's field in Rutland, England in 2020. Jim Irvine, the landowner's son, noticed unusual pottery fragments and a crop mark on satellite imagery. This led to contacting local authorities and initiating an archaeological investigation by the University of Leicester. The mosaic measures about 36 feet by 23 feet. It is believed to have decorated a dining or entertaining area within the villa it was a part of originally. It illustrates very famous scenes from Homer's The Iliad, specifically the epic battle between Achilles and Hector. So the owner wasn't just rich, but they also had a knack for literature and were very well read. The villa is thought to have been occupied during the late Roman era, between the 3rd and 4th centuries AD. Archaeological surveys have identified other structures around the villa, including barns, circular buildings, and possibly a bathhouse. The overall map makes it even clearer that the owner was rich, and because this area is away from the general cities of the time, liked their privacy too. The mosaic is notable for being the first of its kind discovered in the UK, and one of only a few similar finds across Europe. 15. Massive mosaic in Turkey. In September 2012, a mosaic was uncovered near a 3rd century imperial temple in Antiochia ad Kragum, located on the southern Turkish coast near the Mediterranean. The excavation is led by the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and while they were expecting to find something here, they had no idea the discovery would be this massive. Approximately 40% of the mosaic was revealed within weeks of the initial find, with an estimated total area of about 1,600 square feet, so it's possibly over 5,000 square feet in total. The mosaic displays Roman geometric patterns. The intricate design reflects the high artistic standards and cultural influences of the Roman Empire during the 3rd and 4th centuries AD. The mosaic's large size indicates a significant Roman presence and cultural influence in the region, challenging previous assumptions about the extent of Roman impact in this area. Right next to the mosaic, researchers also uncovered a 25-foot-long Roman bath. This mosaic is believed to be the largest of its type found in the region. Antiochia ad Kragum might have just been a major urban center during the Roman Empire, so it's possible entire cities are buried nearby. 16. The infamous Gypsy Girl. Unearthed in 1998-1999 during excavations in Zugma, Turkey, the discovery was an accident. It was found when lifting a fallen ancient column, which revealed parts of the mosaic beneath it. The mosaic portrays a young girl with dark skin and hair, dressed in a colorful shawl and holding a tambourine. Her gaze is what made this particular mosaic so famous. In the 1960s, many parts of the mosaic were removed during unauthorized excavations and smuggled abroad. These fragments were eventually displayed at Bowling Green State University in the US. Turkey initiated formal requests for the return of the stolen fragments in 2012. After years of negotiation, a protocol was signed in May 2018 to facilitate their return. The fragments were returned and were celebrated at the Zugma Mosaic Museum in Gaziantep in November 2019, and the mosaic is now reunited with the other fragments found during the original excavation. 17. The Mosaics of the Lost City. Excavations in Zugma began in 2007, following the creation of an artificial lake in 2000 that had submerged much of the ancient city. The site has revealed about 2,000 to 3,000 houses, but nothing comes close to what was found under this house. There are 3 mosaics here dating back to the 2nd century BC. Even though this mosaic was massive, it was virtually invisible, and only the trained eye would have found it, which it did. When they washed the dirt off, it unveiled the grandest mosaic this area had ever seen. The reason why this whole area was so well preserved is that the entire place was completely underwater until 2000, away from any prying eyes. 18. Underwater mosaic in Napletid. The Campi Flegrei Archaeological Park has been conducting underwater surveys in the Terme del Lacus area. Recent excavations have uncovered a well-preserved mosaic dating back approximately 2,000 years, all underwater. The mosaic features intricate patterns created from white, blue, and red tessera. It includes psychedelic intertwining geometric lines, crossing braids, and hexagons with concave sides. The design is a lot like the mosaics found in Tunisia, suggesting cultural exchanges and artistic connections within the Roman Empire. This isn't just an area with mosaics. Entire sculptures and other structures are still intact here, just like they were back when they were originally built. 19. The mosaic in the Italian vineyard. A well-preserved Roman mosaic was found in a vineyard near Negra di Valpolicella, close to Verona, Italy. The villa, believed to date from the 3rd or 4th century AD, was first documented in 1922, but had been reburied and forgotten. The newly discovered mosaic was located between 3 and 5 feet underground. Initial photographs from the 1922 excavation provided the first clues about the villa's existence. Rediscovery efforts, initiated by state funding last year, were challenging because of the lack of precise coordinates from the original excavation. The villa's estimated layout spans about 10,000 square feet, but because of how massive that project would be, most of it is unexcavated, still in its original state. 20. Artistic jewels from ancient Rome. In 2018, during modern excavation efforts at the House of the Garden in the Regio Fief section of Pompeii, archaeologists found something they said brought insight into the female world of ancient Rome. Buried deep in a wooden box were ornate pieces of jewelry, including 2 mirrors, fragments of necklaces, and items crafted from bronze, bone, and amber. With them were various good luck charms and amulets, such as phallic symbols, pendants shaped like ears, closed fists, and skulls, as well as figures of deities like Harpocrates. These artifacts, reflecting the personal adornment and spiritual practices of the time, were likely used by women for protection and to invoke fortune and fertility. Women wore these like pieces of art, and even though they've passed on, these ended up surviving. 21. Perfectly preserved ancient dining room art. In 2023, archaeologists found rare Roman frescoes in a dining room in Pompeii that had remained buried under volcanic ash since 79 AD. These frescoes, found in a newly excavated section of Pompeii, showed scenes inspired by the Trojan War, featuring prominent mythological figures such as Helen of Troy, Paris, and Cassandra. The room where these were uncovered is approximately 50 feet long and 20 feet wide, adorned with elegant black walls, which were painted to mask the soot from oil lamps used during evening gatherings. All of it was encased, kept safe by nature this entire time. 22. Ancient Roman pizza painting. On June 27, 2023, archaeologists in Pompeii uncovered a fascinating fresco that might just have an ancestor of the modern Italian pizza. This discovery was made on the wall of a house in the ancient Roman city, which was destroyed nearly 2,000 years ago. The fresco shows a flatbread placed beside a wine goblet, with indications that it might have been eaten with fruits or seasoned with spices and a type of pesto sauce. While flatbread can't be called a pizza by today's standards, it is definitely a distant relative, if nothing else. 23. Roman-era swords. On September 6, 2023, the Israel Antiquities Authority found 4 exceptionally well-preserved Roman swords in the Judean desert within the En-Gedi Nature Reserve near the Dead Sea. The find, which also included a fragment of a Roman spear, was made accidentally by Israeli archaeologists who were initially examining an old Hebrew inscription on a stalactite in a hard-to-reach cave. The swords, believed to date from the 2nd century CE, were found hidden in a rock niche within an area of inaccessible cliffs. The dry climate of the region ended up preserving them, with the blades showing minimal corrosion. The blades of 3 swords measure between 60 and 65 centimeters in length, while the 4th is approximately 45 centimeters long. These swords are identified as standard types used by Roman soldiers stationed in Judea and might have been part of war booty. 24. Roman mummy portraits. These Roman mummy portraits were discovered between December 1899 and April 1900 in the ancient city of Tebtunis, now known as el Bregat, in Egypt. These portraits, which date back to the 1st-2nd century CE, were initially created to depict individuals and were typically kept in homes until the death of the person, after which they were placed over the faces of mummified bodies. A team from Northwestern University acquired 15 of these mummy portraits to study. The research used advanced techniques such as non-invasive image analysis and scanning electron microscopy to analyze the construction and artistic methods and possibly the meaning behind these portraits. 25. Roman laundry. The Fulunica di Stephanus, an ancient laundry facility in Pompeii, was first discovered between 1912 and 1914 during excavations along Via dell'Abbondanza. As one of the most complete and significant laundries found in Pompeii, it takes you right into the real lives of the people living in ancient Rome. The facility served as a laundry where clothes were cleaned and bleached using urine, which acted as a detergent. The laundry included large masonry tanks for rinsing fabrics, stone basins for washing, and a makeshift pressing machine for the clothes. A flat roof was used for drying clothes in the sun. We tend to think of hygiene as a fairly new concept, but it's apparently been around for centuries. Could this have been ancient civilizations' way of communicating with the people of the 21st century?